And now we have S-Code Knight, creating future Pokemon that are wild.
Interest haven't I done yet?
Now that is a glorious pun. Gotta give you credit for that one.
Meeny, meeny, miny. Oh, this is a new one.
Huh. Absolutely.
Ah, why not?
I've only...
What the hell is that?
I've only
Trust me,
seen
lads,
it in a
we're gonna be
billion
saying that a
review.
lot this video.
YouTuber. Check him out if you
Anyway,
get the chance.
hello ladies and gentlemen, I am S-Code Knight back with
Brian
another
Cancer
random
lost
video.
Lost
So,
part of his leg.
Pokemon have
It's
been
really
split
tragic.
into many different categories,
Anyway.
which have only been expanded on over the years. Whether it be Route 1 birds, legendary Pokemon, pseudo-legendary Pokemon, starter Pokemon.
Mythical
But
Pokemon.
One of my favorite Pokemon categories has to be the fossil Pokemon. I love prehistoric animals. I've watched countless dinosaur documentaries. Jurassic
It doesn't
Park is
matter
one of my
what
favorite
year it
movies
is.
of all time,
As soon as
and the
we
Jurassic
humans
World
discovered
movies are
dinosaurs, they've
absolute
always
trash.
been
Well,
cool.
the TV show's good at least.
Yeah.
So you can imagine my
The first
enthusiasm
Jurassic
when I
World
heard there were
movie's okay.
prehistoric Pokemon.
I defend that
I
one.
love
I only saw it
prehistoric
once,
animals
but I
because
liked
adds this
it.
whole layer to our world that we don't really think of that much. Like how animals evolved to be what they are today.
Yeah.
Fossil Pokemon give us a mere glimpse into a version of the Pokemon world that we're unfamiliar with.
And dinosaurs
Yes,
give
a
us a
lot of them
vision
do
of what
look
the Earth
pretty
was like
cool.
before
You
we
got
were here.
Archeops, Aerodactyl, Rampardos is one of my favorite Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
The
Rampardos is
Pokemon
boss.
past isn't the subject for this video. You see, recently I've been getting into spec evolution. It's a fun subject where you take an
Speculative
animal and figure out
evolution?
how it would adapt, evolve, and thrive after millions of years of evolution. What really got me
Again.
into it was this bizarre television show called The Future is Wild, an animated documentary showcasing the possible life forms that may exist on Earth after millions
Out of all the
years of
creatures to
evolution.
show on the cover, they
The
probably picked the best
science
one.
is-
I don't know.
A bit questionable,
To say the least, yeah.
The main point of the show is to get people excited about spec evolution.
The
Not
best
gonna
part
lie,
about
this
it
has
is
done
you
its
can't
job
tell
well,
if they're,
because that's what we're
if they're
gonna do
wrong or
today.
not. Because how
We're
the
going
frick
to
would
design
you
very
know?
strange future Pokemon, some of which the likes you've never seen. But S-Code Knight, we already have future Pokemon! It's the Paradox Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet! Oh, you mean the robots?
Yeah, right.
Well, don't be ridiculous, dear viewer. Those aren't real Pokemon, no. No, they were created by the Dream Machine, powered by the Jesus Turtle from the
What?
Crystal Gem homeworld.
What?
So yeah, with maybe one or two exceptions, most of these won't be robots. Instead,
They're
we're gonna
robots
look
to
into
me.
other
I
future
mean, it's
tropes
cool
for
with the
some
backstory and all
inspiration.
that jazz, but
Another
they're
form of
robots.
inspiration is, obviously, other spec evolution projects. Not just The Future is Wild, but a couple I'll get into in a moment. Plus, not only do all of these Pokemon have to be descendant from Pokemon that already exist, but, just for fun, they're going to be from parallel timelines. Basically, they'll all come from futures where things in the Pokemon world turned out a little differently.
Okay,
With all that
I'm
being said,
interested.
I am S-Code Knight, and these are Pokemon
At first you
of
have
the
my
future.
attention, but now you have my erection. What? You know what I'm about. This is ominous. I'm a reap. Ooh, it's going over an evolution. I'll just call it just for simplicity, I guess. I don't know. Or no, it's being hunted. Oh! FNAF jump scare. Killed him dead. What are they gonna do about the... Yeah. Did the prime... The hell is that? Is the future is wild timeline ever explained where the frig humans went?
Starting us off, we have Cruelbat and Derangerbat. They're the Man-Bat Pokemon and have obviously evolved from Zubat and Golbat. Not Crobat though, because these Pokemon have come from a future where humans no longer exist.
Okay, then
So
that answers
they
that
lost the
question.
ability
So
to
no
evolve
friendship
Crobat,
evolutions.
But they're still strong enough to handle things without their third evolution.
There.
And in a world where Pokemon have become a lot more
Interesting.
feral and untamed without human interference,
And more grass-like,
they need to
apparently.
be. These Pokemon have sacrificed flight for fight. They can use their long limbs to swing from tree to tree like apes. ambushing their
I like how
prey
the ear on
from
top of its
above.
head can double
They're
as an
social
eye.
towards themselves, but quite literally deranged against any other species that may threaten them or sink their teeth into their territory. So, moving on to their design inspiration, these Pokemon are representations of futuristic animals or predators. Think the alien, the predator, basically a futuristic animal that's meant to be the bane of human existence.
But there are no
That's
humans.
why Crobat has this monstrous
Maybe that's how we would
hose,
extinct.
all these scar-looking things on its body, and its ears being joined together to look like a massive Cyclops eye.
That's
Speaking
freaking
of which,
metal.
that's how these Pokemon detect and hunt prey. They can't see, but they can hear pretty well. So, why use Zubat and Golbat? Well, there are quite a few spec evolution animals in media that are bats. In Primeval, a criminally underrated British TV show, we see tons of animals from both the past and even the future, but the very first future animal we see
Wait, are those
is one
real humans or
simply named
CGI? I can't
the
tell.
Future Predator.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, I told you you'd be saying that a lot.
Yeah.
These future bats are the main inspiration for
bat.
Danger Bat's design. They're fast, adaptable, intelligent, and their echolocation is so powerful they can sense its victim's heartbeat.
Jeez.
Monstrous creatures
That they
show
came
up in
from a
almost
bat?
every
Are you
season
what?
and are basically the show's Dalek. And just like the Dalek, they kinda started to suck after their first few appearances.
Yeah, and they
Let's
got
not worry about
spammed to
that.
death.
Other than them, there's
I only
the
asked if
Night
the humans were
Stalker from
CGI
Afterman.
because the
This
fourth
is
guy
another
in the
bat that
row,
works
like going
on
1, 2, 3, 4,
land
5, looked like a CGI model to me.
And the Future is Wild's Death Glimmers.
That
Bats
does
that
not
can
look
still
bad,
fly,
doesn't it?
but they hunt in the day rather than being nocturnal. My point is, bats are a pretty common sight around spec evolution. So a descendant of Zubat that walks like a man and hunts in the trees? It's a no-brainer. These Pokemon are now
Turtle looks
grass
cool, I'll give it that
dark
one,
types.
especially the Zubat. The
Dark
Zubat looks
for
a little
obvious
adorable.
reasons. And
but the
grass,
gro-
because, well, of their
But
environment.
the
they blend in with
Golbat
trees.
just like,
They
ugh.
also have a new signature ability called Sonar Vision,
Ooh.
which prevents both buffs and debuffs from invasion and accuracy.
Ooh.
Basically,
interesting.
this thing may be blind, but it can still hear you. But as a backlash, it takes double the damage from sound-based moves.
Ah, I
for
see.
obvious reasons.
Yeah. My ears! My freaking ears! Oh great, everything's flooded. Global warming now! Godeens. I'm surprised there's regular Pokemon in the future, but I guess there's gotta be some, I guess. I mean, Relicanth proves that. Jesus Christ, dude. It's a tentacle, wasn't. Ooh, what the heck is that? Is this Piplup involved? I guess? I don't know. What the heck did Piplup fused with Whale Lord? I can feel electricity from its nostrils. What the hell is going on?
Next up, we're taking a trip to the deep in order to visit Highwattrel and Sanewattrel, the whale bird Pokemon. This is a future where Team Aqua were successful in their plan,
I see.
which backfired dramatically.
Yeah,
As a result,
that
the
kinda happened.
Pokemon world was flooded, and a lot of Pokemon had to either adapt or die. These Pokemon have evolved from Wattrel and Kilowattrel.
Ah.
They're already seabirds and spend most of their time near the water, so it wasn't hard for them to trade wings for fins.
I guess that
The
makes
future
enough
trope here
sense.
is pretty obvious. Flooded world, almost
It's crazy how
everywhere
that
becoming
Pokemon
an
Origin
endless
short,
ocean.
it's
But
just
as
like,
for their main
and then the
design
bad guys
inspiration,
won.
they're based on
The
another
end.
Future's wild animal called the gannet whale. These are seabirds that have evolved from gannets, now living a seal-like lifestyle. Also,
Huh.
they make a funny noise. Obviously, these Pokemon have swapped out their flying type for the water type, but Sanewattrel is still electric type. You see, these
Yeah,
massive
from its
Pokemon
nostrils.
have evolved their feet into a massive rudder that works similarly to Weasel and Floatzel.
That's kinda
You see,
cool.
They inhale seawater and then channel it into the rudder at the back of their body, similar to a hydrokinetic dam, allowing them to move it and swim through the ocean at incredible speeds. Not only that, but they can then channel the motion of their propeller into their nose, which they can fire as a short burst electric shock
Okay then.
to stun prey. This is a reference to another Future is Wild animal called the Spitfire bird. In fact, that's another reason why they're here. Birds are another popular choice for spec evolution because, well, they're so darn adaptable.
There's a lot of
They're
birds.
dinosaurs, so it's pretty likely that they're going to be here long after us. In fact, there's a whole spec evolution project called Serena, which is about an alien planet entirely inhabited by birds, with only a handful of other animals like fish and insects. It's a magnificent project, and I would highly recommend it if you're interested in getting into spec evolution.
Might check it out.
Not much else I have to say about these guys, so
I mean, it makes sense that there's a lot of popularity with birds too, because isn't that like how Darwin started his theory and all that jazz? He saw that bird doesn't look the same as that bird. It's almost like other species exist or something. Yeah, whatever. I guess this is still in the what if Team Aqua won scenario. What the hell? Shellos, what the heck? Do you think Kyogre's like Godzilla Earth in this one? I'm Shellos. Shellos, the Pokemon.
Soaring above this water world
Girls hate
are the
guys who
hoverboard
rush them,
Pokemon,
Jet.
Hoveros
Rush?
and
I'm the fastest thing in the universe!
These Pokemon
And I
have
forgot
evolved
the rest
from
of
Shellos
that.
and Gastrodon,
But the
that
music
have
was
left
great
the
for that
ocean
scene.
to avoid predators. They have taken to the skies, where there is little competition for them, giving them the ability to absorb ultraviolet light and convert it into power, which they can use to both fly and go super fast. They're incredibly competitive, often racing each other. This one's a bit more outlandish.
Yeah.
But that's Pokemon for you.
Yeah.
They're representing futuristic technology, the cool stuff. Which is why they're mainly based on hoverboards, like what you see in Back to the Future. They no longer work on water.
Unless you've got power!
Design-wise, made them
Nintendo
a
power.
bit more sleek, gave them these goggles to make them look more sporty, and I made
I like the
Gastrodon's
goggles
feet
built
look
in.
like wings. Yes, these are in fact feet.
When
When
okay,
these Pokemon
I
are
believe
moving
you.
slower, they use these feet like paddles to help steer through the air. They can also use them a bit like sails to help slow them down in an emergency. They got these paddles from their main
Yeah, like
inspiration,
Kyogre's
another
right
Future's
there.
wild animal called the Reef Glider.
What the hell?
This
Yeah,
is the future
we're gonna get a lot of use out of that clip.
which has evolved
Yes, this
similar
show got a
paddle-like
manga. What the
feet,
hell?
allowing it to swim through the ocean. Lastly, since these Pokemon absorb ultraviolet
I'm not
light to
overly
give them their
surprised because in
abilities,
America
they
everything
also
that's
gain
popular gets a
nutrients from
movie,
it.
whereas
They don't
there
need
gets
to
a manga,
eat
but
or
still.
sleep. To
Or
these
an
flying
anime.
electric types, it's all play and no work. They hardly have any predators anyway, since they're too fast
Good luck
to be caught
catching
by
those
anything, and There's
funkers.
not much competition in the skies. Don't you just love technology these days? With it, there's nothing to worry about. Unless you're facing our next...
Oh. Well, it still gets the point across at least, so, you know. You need that big of a dive over. Wait, I thought humans were extinct. Different timeline. Hariyama's in trouble. And no, it's a robot! Wait, it sends out some steam that turns into a transformer? The Among Us. Alfun 1000. So this thing initiates the steam that
Up
turns
next,
people
we're
into...
looking at the
It's
rulers of
roboticization,
the
like
dark
from
future.
Sonic.
Say hello to Fungi Dude and Crolosum, the Mechaspore and Mechafungus Pokemon. But Escode Knight, you just said that the future Pokemon from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet aren't even real. Why have you created a future where they're here?
Because robots are cool.
Shut up. Sorry, I'll stop talking.
Well, my good viewer, in this parallel future, these Paradox Pokemon weren't created by Terapagos. Instead, they were created by something else.
Mix of fungus and
An experiment
Geodude,
gone
apparently.
horribly wrong. Despite using Geodude
Yeah.
and Graveler as a husk, these Pokemon have evolved from fungus
I could
Pokemon
tell from the
like
hands
Bungus
on the
and
small
Amoonguss.
one.
Though not willingly. They are the result of a mechanized experiment
Gone
that has
horribly
gone loose.
wrong.
They have converted their world into an apocalypse, using nanotech spores to convert every organic thing into a paradox Pokemon. So yeah, these future robot Pokemon are actually robotic slaves to Crolossum, hence why their mushroom heads are similar to radio towers.
Interesting.
They're of course a big play on the trope of zombie apocalypse, only the zombies are now
Robots.
robot Pokemon. And there's another sci-fi future trope for you. A robotic race that wants to convert every organic thing into more robots, like the Cybermen from Doctor Who or the Borg from Star Trek. And to spice it up a bit, I made it a future version of fungus, in reference to another primeval animal.
Disclaimer, you may find the following images unsettling. If you would just skip,
The future fungus.
I hope you read that.
Or more famously, the zombie fungus from The Last
I
of
know
Us.
that one. I
Both of
played
these
the
are
game.
highly evolved
Didn't watch the
zombie
show, but I
fungus that
played the
infect
game.
their host, turning them
The
into
first
these
one, I heard Last of Us 2
creatures.
sucked, and I
The
didn't
future
gonna
fungus
touch it.
simply spreads by contact, while clickers are a bit more scary. You consume the spores and you're basically a goner. These are, of course, all based on the cordyceps, a type of zombie fungus that takes over insects, usually ants.
The cordyceps
With
are
that being
truly
said,
horrifying because
why
they
use
ever get near
Geodude
humans.
as the
Goodbye,
basis
human
host
race.
Instead of an insect Pokemon. Well, fungus isn't just scary. It can actually be very helpful. You see, fungus can grow on just about anything, including rock. It breaks it apart and allows plants to grow. Hence why these Pokemon are growing on Geodude and Graveler. Fungus is patient. It can grow on just about anything, and it's only a matter of time before it consumes it, makes it decay, like a zombie. Fungus always wins.
Fungus among us.
So, to quickly recap, what we have here is a robot zombie fungus that can release nanotech spores, which don't give you a cool suit like Iron Man,
Oh.
but turn you into a robotic slave.
Isn't nature wonderful?
Their typing,
We're
obviously,
so close to greatness.
grass
We're
and
this
steel,
close.
but they also have a new ability called Tungsten
Thanks,
Armor,
Squidward.
where they're completely immune to fire-type moves, but they're weak to ice-type moves. Another primeval reference. So, let's
Makes
take
sense,
a breather
I
from all
guess.
this doom and gloom and look
In
at a
Last
much
of Us,
bigger
they're
and brighter
fire
outcome.
super effective against them because
And
they're
I do mean
plants.
big.
But we're going primeval. There's nothing wrong with that, I'm just saying. Don't send the freaking fungus Pokemon after them. It's a busy building, people. It's just about the people. It's still. Charizard's got some great expressions. Good grief! Future Clifford.
That's a huge.
Yeah, yes it is. I agree. I imagine there's some Furfro in there.
Making their grand entrance are Bunnyton and Bunny Titan, the Titan Pokemon.
No duh.
These Pokemon come from a future where Chairman Rose was successful, giving Galar a permanent energy source.
And a permanent
However,
darkest
since
day.
G-Max energy started becoming incredibly common, it started affecting certain Pokemon's DNA. Hence these big fellas. Bunny Titan has become one of the largest Pokemon on the planet. It's so big, its ears has evolved to become extra
Feet.
limbs, replacing its front limbs. Its tail has also evolved into a third limb in order to help it grab food to bring to its mouth. These guys are so big, they have no natural predators. No other Pokemon would dare tussle with them. It walks where it wants, eats what it wants, does whatever it wants. The future trope of these massive ground types? Nothing less but Utopia, a perfect future where they thrive.
Everything's
Everyone lives
bigger in the
harmony,
future.
including these guys. Like, they're so big and massive, they basically just live in perfect harmony. They don't need to worry, they don't need to spend all day digging like their predecessors. They could just
They're gonna be
chill.
diggers'
Why
teeth, that makes
bother?
sense.
As for what future animal they're
That's
based
just
on,
for
well,
based
they're based
off
on
the,
a couple.
coloring
In the
stuff.
future is wild, we have the Toraton, which is one of the largest animals on Earth, rivaling most dinosaurs. But this is a tortoise, not a rabbit. No, the main inspiration for them are the Rabbucks from the book Afterman. Giraffe-like rabbits, which are peaceful grazers. Lastly, to
Interesting.
reflect how lazy and chill these Pokemon have become, I gave them a big fluffy beard. Its face looks like a big fluffy cloud because these Pokemon are big enough to reach the clouds. Although, as a side effect, they're not very bright. They're a bit
Well, they're not
too
getting much
chill for their
oxygen
own
with how
good
tall and
and
near they
can
are.
cause a bit of a problem if they start wandering into a city. Being a big boy isn't always an advantage. Size and power can make you oblivious to the world around you. So let's revisit Cruelbat's wild future for a moment and look at a Pokemon that's much smarter than this big fella.
Geez, Gigantamax is so popular it got infused in DNA. That's how you know it's something dangerous. So you're saying Emery went missing. I'll go and find him. Uh-oh, that's not good. It's shiny! Look out! That's a trap! It's a hologram or something. Yep. Oh, that ain't good.
No! Harry, no! Don't look at the light! I can't help it. It's so beautiful.
Jeez. From Pikipeks and Toucannons? Dang. This stuff is dark. But then again,
Next
so
up,
is
we have
nature.
one of my favorites. Say hello to Hollowpeck, the Tonguebird Pokemon, and Hipterix, the Hypnobird Pokemon. They're descendants of the Pikipek line that no longer fly, but have become fully land-based
Then
bird
why
Pokemon.
have the
Their main
wings?
method of hunting is hypnosis. Hollowpeck uses its tongue like a pendant to hypnotize its victims, as well as to eat, while Hipterix takes it to a whole new level. This psychic-type Pokemon can produce a holographic projection by opening up its beak.
Yeesh.
It uses this projection to fool its prey before going in for the kill. Their future trope? Virtual reality. We will defeat insanity. Hypnotrix can fool its victims by creating
And it may not be
holographic
great, but there's some great
projections.
opening theme
Using
songs.
its beak like a hologram maker, it shapes the environment to its whim, using it to its advantage. I also threw in a couple of other hypnotic elements, like making their feathers look like eyes, as well as the bizarre eye colors.
Oh, jeez.
So,
Throwing a
what
little
future
peacock
animal are
in
they
there.
based on? Well, the main inspiration for Hipterix is yet another creature
Primeval.
from Primeval's novel. Yes, the show was actually popular enough to get a novel. Multiple, actually.
Huh.
And a Canadian spin-off.
Really?
But I digress.
Huh.
These Pokemon are mainly based on the only
The more
future
you
animal
know.
from the novel.
How do you
the
fail
Future
and yet?
Bird. Now,
Well,
the
it's not that
Future
it failed. It
Bird's
was criminally
actual
underrated.
appearance is described
Difference.
pretty vaguely, so it's up to artist interpretation
A
on what it
Bigfoot
actually
parrot.
looks like. But the animal's main design features are a long tongue covered with teeth and the ability to produce pheromones, which it uses to mind control dumber animals. So I gave the tongue to Hollowpeck, and Hipterix has the hypnosis part, only instead of pheromones, it uses psychic powers. Lastly, to fill in the gaps, I took inspiration from another Future is Wild animal, the Caterpillar.
What?
What the?
Yeah, we're.
Giant future birds hunt in packs, using their feather crest to communicate with other members of the group. This is where Hipterix's feather crest came from, and not really much else.
Hey, it's a cool
Needless
inspiration.
to say, though, I'm pretty proud of
And to
how
be
these
fair,
Pokemon turned out.
With as dated as the
Right,
CGI is,
only
that
2
intro.
Pokemon left.
Looking at where
And
it
they
is,
so
it
happen to
wasn't
be
too
the
bad.
coolest type of Pokemon of them all.
The Pikachu line, of course.
Pikachu clones!
Oh, you stink!
Even in the future, we can't get away from these funkers. You sure we didn't hunt the his extinction yet? Am I out of touch? No, it's the Pokemon that are wrong. Oh. The Pikachu line gets hunted down to extinction by whatever the hell that is.
What you are looking at right here is Sorochew, the last mouse Pokemon. Sorochu is considered the end of the line. It comes from a future where it is the last Pikachu clone ever. Every other Pikachu clone and Pikachu itself have died out.
Dang.
It has lost all hope, making its electricity incredibly frail. At night,
Making some
it
people
can be
watching this
seen
go,
wailing
"Yay!"
into the moonlight, staring amongst the land where its kind once stood happy and safe.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody.
This
You don't have to
final
be like
descendant
that.
of Pikachu is based on a creature from The Future is Wild, which is probably just as, if not even more depressing.
God.
Say hello to the Poggle. The Poggle in The Future is Wild is, quote, the last mammal in existence
Jeez.
ever, with every other mammal basically becoming extinct. So it was pretty easy to translate that into a Pikachu clone. To demonstrate how weak and frail these Pokemon have become, I gave them smaller tails, some scars on top of their cheeks, and I made their heads white to make them look like a skull.
God.
And since it is a Pikachu clone that's being driven to extinction, it is part ghost type. A sad fate for the mascot of this franchise, but evolution has its favorites, and they can't always be the same as ours.
Yeah, true.
Just like Game Freak. Fortunately, this is only one possible
Not
future. So for our
Not
last
to mention
Pokemon
the
in this
fact
video,
of,
what
like,
do you
as
say
some,
we take
you
this very
can get a
same
lot of
Pokemon
luck early on in
and
life, and
look at a brighter
sometimes it just
side?
comes crashing down on you. I mean, Pikachu gets a lot of support. I'm not going to say it's the most broken Pokemon ever. It's not by a long shot, but it gets a lot of favoritism for obvious reasons. And now here's a much brighter future. What was that thing that killed the Pikachu, though? Here's a regular Pokemon, I don't know. Pika Glide.
What you see here is
Mood
Sorochu's
whiplash.
Horizon form.
Horizon for me.
In this timeline, Sorochu is the flying mouse Pokemon. It comes from a future where Pikachu's kind have thrived, and have even learned how to master flight.
Which makes Sorochu a
This
questionable
version
name,
of
but
Sorochu
eh.
is a bit different from all the other Pokemon I've already showed off, because it's not actually based on a future animal at all. In fact, this is my own little spec
Huh, a
evolution.
unique one.
And I
Nice.
made it by taking inspiration from Pokemon Horizons.
Oh?
The new Pokemon anime, which I definitely recommend. It's a breath of fresh air. Anyway, this Pokemon's main inspiration
then most will be
comes
like,
from the
"Where
episode where
Ash?"
Reed first met Captain Pikachu. Without going into too many spoilers, Cap basically learned a technique which it used to repel itself off the ground to make it look like it was flying.
Oh, that's cool.
According to the
That's
episode,
unique.
Cap did this by making a tornado with Volt Tackle and then using its tail like a spring to repel itself into the air. When coming back down, it would use its tail to steer itself and soften the landing. This was
That's
actually the main
actually
driving
pretty
force
ingenious.
for this whole video. It got me thinking.
Nice
what
though
if
the anime
Pikachu
still has some
actually
outside the
started
box
speccing
thinking when it comes to this
into
stuff,
this?
you know?
Like, what if they took
They always
this
had that
and
stuff.
ran with
Sometimes
it,
were better,
learning
sometimes
how
were
to
worse, but
actually
there was
fly?
always moments of being
Well, for
like,
that,
where did you
to
come up
keep
with
thinner
that?
and slimmer, they would need to evolve.
Hey, let's be real here. As
longer
much as we
legs
mock it,
so they
who
could
the frick would
propel
think of
themselves
thunder
off the
armor?
ground easier. Their cheeks have been
It's
buffed to
unique if
create
nothing else.
Small bursts of electricity to help keep them in the air, and most importantly, their tails, which is now both a massive spring and a parachute glider. With all these new features, Sorochu can soar to new horizons to make the world their oyster and the future whatever they want it to be. This is a basic idea of how spec evolution works. Take an animal, think about how it would adapt, evolve, and thrive based on the environment and real-life evidence, and then try to imagine how it would turn out after millions of years of evolution. And I think it's pretty solid for one of my first attempts of a spec evolution
Yeah.
animal. Oh, and lastly, both of Sorochu's forms follow the gimmick of good and bad future. Its Grimace form is the bad future, where
For obvious
Pikachu is
reasons.
driven to extinction, whilst its Horizon form is the good future, where Pikachu thrives and goes beyond the horizon. Which one will you end up with? Well, that's up to you. After all, to quote a good scientist, anyone can make their future whatever they want it to be. So make it a good one.
I choose the good future just because I don't like depressing things for obvious reasons.
And I think
Who
that's
likes
a nice
depression?
bit to end the video on. thank you guys for watching. This was really fun to make. I love designing these
It was
Pokemon.
certainly unique,
And
that's for damn
comparing
sure.
these to the future Pokemon we actually got in Scarlet and Violet, I'm honestly a bit disappointed now that I think about it. I mean, they could have gone a bit more wild with the whole future animal idea,
Yeah.
but instead they just made them
Robots.
which I'm sure they still have some future tropes in them somewhere, but aesthetically they're just
Robots.
robots. When you could have really
And robots
gone,
are cool,
well,
don't get me wrong,
wild
I don't
this
hate
concept.
robots, but
Oh,
you
well,
expect a bit
it is
more
what it
from
is.
Pokemon
Regardless,
then,
I am
and
Escode
then they
Knight.
were
Thank
robots.
you again for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to check out some of the stuff that I mentioned in this video. Let me know
I
which
might.
of these Pokemon you'd be interested in getting and or add to your team, which of these are your favorites, and tell me what future Pokemon you would have liked to see, or even make your own. The Pokemon fan community can come up with some incredible fan-made Pokemon
Ain't that the
designs,
truth?
and I would love to see you guys come up with your own ideas for Spec Evolution Pokemon. After all, the future is only as wild as your imagination. See you guys later.
Anyway, wasn't there also like a television show based off of it? Yeah, that's right. There was like a kids cartoon based off of the future as well. I forgot about that. That theme song awoke like a core memory in my brain, sort of thing. So weird. Weird how music could do that. You just hear one thing, it's like, wait a minute. Anyway, those were certainly some unique ideas for Pokemon, that's for dang sure. You know, it's a Paradox future Pokemon looked a bit more like that. I probably would have been a bit nicer to them. Like, we can have a robot, that's fine. I think, like, if it was like that fungus thing, I don't think anyone would have a problem. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I'd be like, yeah, okay, there'll be a robot in the future. That makes sense. I mean, we have robots in the current Metagross, for example. His line, the Magnemite line. Yeah, well, okay, Magnemite's more of Magnet, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? It's just disappointing that they're all robots. They're not badly designed robots, they're just safe. Anyway, yeah, these were some really great designs for future Pokemon. The Sarichu was so freaking depressing. Like, look, I may be getting... Look, the Pika clone may be done to death and we're all a little tired of it, but just like, I don't want them to go extinct. Who wants a species to go extinct? Except for like freaking wasps. They could die off tomorrow and literally no damage will be done to the ecosystem. I think that's a scientific fact. Like, at least, like, bees are annoying, but at least, or maybe it wasn't wasps, maybe it was hornets. It was one of the two, because bees at least give honey to flowers and stuff like that. Hornets or wasps are just there to piss you the hell off. They have no benefit to the ecosystem. I like to imagine they were put on Earth, so God reminded us that we are not the number one species automatically, you know? Sort of like how King Kong was like a giant ape, but he could be taken down by all those freaking airplanes. It's like, yeah, you're really big and powerful, but you're not all that. You know? Keep us in line. But those were certainly some unique ideas. I think my favorite of that one was the Golbat and the Zubat, though. Like, not to say that they got worse over time, because I like the whale thing, and I like the Sarichu future Horizon form thingamafledger. Those were certainly unique. It just were those where it's like, that was such a what? And the Pikipeks were awesome, too. God, it's hard to pick the favorite, but I gotta go, I feel like I want to go with the Zubat, just because they were so wild and creative, yet plausible in a way. Like, I can kind of see where this is going, you know? It's like, this one makes some sense. I imagine I guess, other than that, the one that would be the most likely win would be the, Pikipek line, I guess. I mean, it's also kind of opposite Zelda Wind Waker, because in those, was the Zoro tribe, which is the water tribe, for anyone who doesn't play Zelda. They're a race of fish people. So when the world is flooded, they turn into bird people. And it's like, but the world is made for you. You're fish people. But I think the explanation for that is like, it's flooded with salt water and they're fresh water, or vice versa. So they had to adapt to time and turn into birds instead. But still one of those where it's just like, but you can justify it through science. It doesn't take too much thought. Just one of those, you know, on surface you're like, eh. Yeah, but this in your timeline, instead the birds turn to fishes, which I guess would make sense. I mean, it's kind of hard to be a bird when there's no land, or at the very least, extremely limited. When they get to the point of where the entire world is flooded. The end. I guess everything would become fish at that point. Those are some pretty creative, like, hunting things. It is funny to think they're just some regular animals in the wild, but they get hunted by the new animals because you gotta show off the new animals somehow. You think jaguars are cool? Check out the super jaguar. Oy. There's some really creative and intense. The freaking fungus thing is terrifying just because the idea of it could just be walking around and you're just an innocent Pokemon and then boom, you're a robot now. You had no say in the matter. You didn't get anything. It was just boom, robotization from Sonic. Those were definitely some unique and creative ideas with the Pokemon, that's for dang sure. I can imagine if I added any of them to a team, assuming it's a team where freaking Pokemon. We'll just pretend that humans exist. Well, I guess if I gotta do one with humans existing, we know that for a fact. Out of the two worlds we saw, we gotta go with the one with the giant Bunnelby evolution thing. Just because we know humans exist in that one. The alternative choice was the fungus timeline. And, no. I don't want to be in a freaking post-apocalypse. I mean, at least in Chairman Rose, it's theoretical utopia with some major backlash. Wait. Sorry, I'm thinking. Ooh, there's just so many creative designs. What the hell is that? Creative. Can someone get Esco 9 in the Pokemon Company? Like, seriously, I'm not gonna say every design will be a winner automatically, because even every artist has that one where it's like, that's not very good. But it's just like, they could use some more creative thought in there. If they're gonna make Pokemon every year, they gotta have some new juices going through there, you know? They need some creativity to go through. You can't just have the same people all the time, which they might not even do, but you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, this future was freaking wild, that's for dang sure. It was really unique, interesting, and definitely entertaining to watch. I'll give you that. Absolutely. Yeah, that was fun. I'm glad I checked this video out. I hope you all check it out in your own free time. Maybe there'll be a future as Wild Pokemon 2. You never know. If you're interested to check out, that's for sure. It's certainly something unique with the Pokemon franchise, that's for sure. And when was the last time anyone talked about the future as Wild or Primeval? I'm sure it's happened, but how often is the question? Not very, I imagine. But again, I don't know. I'm not in those fan bases. Maybe I will after this stuff. Who knows? Anyway, yeah. So good stuff, awesome stuff to see from S-Code, and it was definitely a blast to see. I was going to say blast of the past, but the opposite is true! Haha! A blast of the future. So yeah. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. Bye!